everybody. All right, so today we're going to be actually making a face mask out of a t-shirt. So this is kind of fun, and it doesn't require much material, so it's easy to do, and most of you all will be able to do this with things you have around the house. Now, you're going to have to sacrifice one of your t-shirts, so maybe you have an old one or one you don't really care about. Certainly don't cut up one of your favorite t-shirts to make a mask out of. It's really only going to take two things: a shirt and a pair of scissors, okay? And this is something that the Center for Disease Control, the CDC is what it's called, and they were the first people to come up with this idea and give it out to America so that we could make use of it as we wanted to. I've actually made one of my own before, and I'm excited to try to do this with you all today. So why don't y'all join me and let's get started. All you're going to do is the bottom part of the shirt here, you're going to cut off the bottom of the shirt, okay? And so you don't have to worry about it being too perfect. You don't want to go too low because you don't want only that to be the mask, but you don't need that much mask, okay? So somewhere kind of near the bottom, maybe 4 to 6 inches, depending on what you think you might need. So I'm gonna start cutting right about here, okay? And I'm just gonna cut, and I'm gonna work all the way across the shirt. And cutting fabric can be kind of hard sometimes, you know, because it's not as stiff as paper. And what I like to do is I like to actually grab the back of it here as I get it going, and it keeps it tight, keeps it taut. And then I'm able to kind of push the scissors right along through there. So you can see what we're doing is we're cutting one big strip off of here. And I'm getting closer. And voila! Now this top half of the shirt, we don't need anymore, so we can set it aside. Our scissors we're going to need, but for right now, let's see what we got. So, what do y'all think? Does that look okay? And the goal of this, okay, is that we're going to actually be able to wear it over our nose and mouth like this and have it behind us, okay? But to do that, we need to make some straps. And so how are we going to do that? We have just a loop of cloth right here, okay? Well, we're actually going to cut out a block. We're going to cut out a rectangle, right? And we know a rectangle is a square, but a square is not a rectangle, because a rectangle can have sides that are different from each other. They'll have 2 equal sets of sides instead of 4 equal sides. So we're going to cut a rectangle out of this. We're going to cut. We're going to leave some room on this side, and we're going to leave some room on this side. Okay. So we're going to cut right down the middle here, and then connect it and make a little box out of it, okay? And I'm gonna have too much fabric if I don't cut far, so I'm gonna have to cut a pretty good ways in, okay? So I'm gonna start here at the back, and I'm gonna leave enough fabric that I'm not gonna have little tiny straps. Okay, and now here's the thing: you don't want to cut too far, because if you cut too far, you can't take it back. All right, it's kind of like cooking. You can always add more. You can always cut more. But once you've cut, you can't, I mean, I guess you could sew it back, but you have to learn about that, and I'm not able to sew. So same thing with the other side here. Let's see, I'm struggling a little bit. Here we go. There we go. Once you get it held right, it's way easier. And that looks, that's okay. I mean, we can see I've still got a lot of fabric down there, so I'm going to keep on cutting a little bit more. I'm going to keep on cutting it down towards the front. Nice, and then I got to even it up on this side too. All right, that's looking better. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the rest, the inside. So I'm going to leave these little flaps. I'm going to cut the middle though, and cut it to the other side. Cut it out of there. Finish cutting that square out, that rectangle. Just like that. Let's see how we're looking. So now I've got this little scrap piece there you can maybe do something with if you wanted. And so now this is what I have, okay? It used to be a loop, and it's still connected, right? But now it's got a front piece, and it's got the 2 pieces down here. So what we're going to do actually is you're going to now want to cut through the back top here, and that will turn the loop into 2 sets of strings. Just like that. It's an easy one. And now look what we have. Look at that. And guess what we can do with it? We can wrap it around, and now we have our straps in the back, and we can tie one up over our ears, make a little loop-de-knot. Okay. And then our other one, we can tie at the back of our head. I wonder how muffled I sound in this mask, right? But look at that! We used to have a t-shirt, and now we have a mask, and it covers my nose and it covers my mouth. What do y'all think? Well, I'll be honest, this mask is not as fancy as you can make them, but I don't know how to sew. And so here in a minute, we're going to meet with somebody who does, and they're going to show us how to make a mask that maybe is better than mine. But if you joined along, I hope that you've enjoyed making one. And if you ever need a mask and you don't have one, all you need is a t-shirt, a pair of scissors, and a little bit of creativity. So thank you all. And if I can get this mask off, thanks for joining in and making a mask. We'll see you next time. All right, so, you know, a mask is okay. It's not great. It's not fantastic, but you know, since we're here in the studio of Breakfields, that we're going to have something a lot better to show you shortly. Stephanie, I believe your mask might look a little bit nicer than mine.
Mine's a little more professional looking, Hendrix.
Well, indeed it is. So I've got the t-shirt mask and you've got the...
It's a cotton mask.
And we're going to make one.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get started.
Okay.
So, this is the workstation.
It's the workstation.
All right, let's see what we got to do.
All right, so we're going to make a mask like this.
Okay.
It's made out of a tightly woven cotton. And according to the CDC, you want to have 2 layers. So we'll have 2 layers. And then you can actually put a filter in there if you wanted to, like a coffee filter or something if you want a little more protection.
Cool.
So first I picked my fabric. I decided on this with the little bees on it.
Yep, nice.
I've got 2 pattern pieces. This is for the outside and this is for the inside. So I'm going to let you help me, Hendrix.
Great.
I'm going to trace this one. I'm going to get you to trace this one. You just need it on 2 pieces of fabric. You can trace it with that.
Okay.
I've already traced this on
Nice.
here. So I'm going to cut this out.
Oh no, I'm not sure my tracing is as good as yours.
It'll be fine. There's a lot of room for error on here, so
Well, that's good.
you can, yeah.
I need room for error.
And these will fit a wide variety of faces.
That's good.
But you can also make a smaller pattern if you needed a smaller one or a larger pattern.
So look at mine.
Look at there. So then you're going to cut with those.
I'm just going to cut along the lines.
Right along the lines. He's got 2 pieces of fabric together, so he'll just cut them both at the same time. Here's another kind of cutter. Some people like to use a rotary cutter.
Pizza cutter.
That's what it looks like.
Fabric pizza cutter.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, I'm worried that mine is not going to turn out as well as yours, but you know what? It's okay.
It's going to be just fine. And that's the inside. No one's going to see it anyway when you're all done.
Oh, that's good. So after we cut, what are we going to do next?
So we're going to go to the sewing machine, and when you sew, you want to take the right sides of the fabric, the part that's going to show on your face, and you're going to put them together because you want all the seams to be on the inside when you're done.
Okay, so
I've got
mine
these
is cut.
together. Yeah.
And
okay.
we're ready to go to the sewing machine.
We're ready to go.
Let's do it. All right, so we're over here, and we're going to be using the sewing machine, right?
That's right.
All right, well, let's
Next
see what it
step.
looks like.
So we've already put our fabric right sides together, and we're going to sew a small little seam down the center front of this. And you just want to go right down the edge. And then you're going to trim your threads. And typically when you're sewing, you want your thread to match. So I should have used a hot pink thread, but instead I'm using something dark so you can actually see my stitching. So that's the outside. We're going to do the same thing on the inside. And since this is this fabric is the same both inside and the right side and the wrong side, I'm just going to sew them together here. I don't have to flip it. So come along. little thread that got stuck. We'll just pull that out.
Stuck thread.
Stuck thread. And we'll finish that seam.
Cool.
Again, we're going to clip.
And is that all we're sewing from this first part?
The very beginning, that's all we're going to sew.
All right, so you have scissors now. What are we doing here?
Yeah, so we just want to clip this seam a little bit. It's a curved seam. Anytime you have a curved seam that you're going to flip inside out, in order for it to lay nice and flat, you need to make little slits in your seam, or in your seam allowance. So then when you open this up,
oh, yeah.
it's going to lay a lot nicer. I can get that nice flat seam in there.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're over here at the ironing board, and what are we doing now?
That's right. So like we said before, you want to press every seam. So I have this nifty little ironing board here. It's actually for sleeves, but this works great for these small areas like this mask. So I want to press that seam. I'm going to use a little steam, and I'm going to press it nice and flat. And in a minute, I'm going to go back, and I'm actually going to do what you call top stitching on there. So I'll do that to both of these, the inside and the outside. I'm pressing that seam to one side. So you want it all on the same side. And right there. And then we're going to press about 1/4 inch on the ends. And I'll show you in a minute what that's for. And that'll be most of our pressing all at once. So we'll do this piece.
You're pretty good with that iron.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Lots of ironing.
I like how the sound it makes when it
is nice.
shoots out that steam. All right. There we go. Now we're ready to sew some more.
All right. Okay, so we're back at the sewing machine, and this time
we're top stitching. So we're going to top stitch. That means you're stitching right next to the seam you just made, and that just reinforces it. It also gives it a little different look, but it's mostly, the main reason you're doing it is to reinforce that seam. You don't want any extra air or germs getting in your mask.
Yes, that would be good.
So we're going to do that on both pieces. See
Definitely
the nice little
yeah.
top stitching there?
Very nice.
We'll do the same thing on the inside. Remember I said you pressed that seam to one side, so you're catching that seam you just pressed.
And you're being very careful while you do this, right?
Yes. You definitely don't want to get your fingers stuck in there. So you'll just do this all the way down. Have a seam that flipped the wrong way. There we go. All right, so now we're going to take these two pieces and put them together. So I'm going to take, you're always putting your right sides together. So this one clearly is the right side with the pretty fabric on it. But on this one, the right side is where I did the top stitching. So I'm going to put those together. I want to match up the seams right here. And you can either use pins, or I have these little clips, which sometimes are easier. And you're going to line it up, and they're not going to match exactly at the end, and I'll explain that in just a minute. See how the inside one is shorter? But we need to make a casing on the outside to hold the elastic that goes around your ears. So that's why that one's a little bit longer. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. I'm matching up these seams. And you can put as many pins or clips as you need. I just put a few just to kind of hold it in place. But I've also been sewing for a really long time. So if you're more comfortable putting a bunch of pins in, you can do that. So now we're just going to sew from the inside piece all the way around the top and all the way around the bottom. Now remove your pins or your clips as you go. Keep that folded. And we're going to trim that seam. Get this one. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And we're going to make sure we have all these threads cut off. And then we're going to turn it inside out, or right side out. So when we do this, you'll notice that this is a lot messier looking than the finished one. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go back and press this really good, and then we're going to top stitch again around it, and then we'll make our casing, and we'll be almost done.
And when you press, that's on the iron?
Uh-huh.
So you'll iron, and then we'll be back over here in just a sec for the final sewing.
That's right.
All right, so we're ready for our, is this our final sewing now?
This is our final sewing.
All right, let's see it.
So we've pressed all this so it's nice and neat. I also pressed this extra fabric. I folded it down because I'm going to make a hole there where that elastic to go behind your ear is. So that's all sewn down. So I will start with it unfolded, and I'm going to sew around the whole top. And again, I'm doing this for looks, but also to make it stronger. And you want to try and keep your stitching even. You can use your foot, some of the markings on your foot, to show you how far you are from the edge of the fabric. So it should stay nice and straight. And we'll clip off these. And we'll do one more. There we go.
Cool.
All right, so now we want to make that casing for the elastic. All we're going to do is fold this down, and we're going to sew right along there. We just want to make sure we leave this open so you can put a filter in there if you want. So you just don't want to catch that. I'm going to go back and forth. This is my reverse stitch right here. And again, that's just so it'll be a little bit stronger. So you can put it in the wash, or if you're tugging on it all day, you won't rip that out.
So you were able to go back and forth on the sewing machine.
Yes, that's what this button right here is for. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And then we'll put in our elastic. Go forward a little bit, push that button, it goes backwards. And then I can just sew regular, making sure I don't catch that lining. And then when I get to the end, I want to go backwards and forwards. And that's all the sewing. Now we just have to put
The elastic
our
on?
elastic in. So there it is.
All right, so our last step, I guess, is putting in the elastic.
It's the last step, and we'll be ready to wear it. I'm going to use a safety pin. I'm going to stick it through the elastic. And this is just like a cord elastic. And I'll close that up. And I'll use the safety pin to guide the elastic through this hole. So we made this casing. I'm going to stick the elastic in the hole. And then I can kind of scrunch it and push the pin all the way through. And
Oh, so you're just using that to help get it through there, because
Just-
otherwise it'd be difficult just trying to push the elastic
right.
through.
And when you get to the end, sometimes you have to work around
It gets hung up on some of the stitching or the fabric. or
on the
something.
fabric that's in there. So it'll eventually come out. It just takes you a minute to find it. There it is. Okay, so now I've got this. I'll unpin it. And then I'm just going to tie a knot in this kind of loosely. And that way whoever wears it can adjust it so it feels nice on their ears and doesn't pull too hard. You just put that little knot down there.
It was a nice knot.
Yeah. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side.
All right. So from my mask, which does the job, but it wasn't all that pretty, to our mask that we made today. Really, you made it, but it was a pleasure being able to watch you. And it looks exactly like this. So that's that's the benefit of using a pattern, is that you can make the same type
Over and over.
every single time. Well, that's great. And if anybody at home is going to be making these along with Stephanie, then that's a lot of fun. Hopefully you'll send in your pictures so that we can share those and enjoy seeing what you guys come up with. So thanks for doing that. That was very entertaining and very informative as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll see you later.
All right.
Bye, guys.
See ya.